Well, welcome back. That's 1999 Acura CL. I'm not going to show you too much taking stuff apart because both of these came out from under the dash. But I'm going to explain what the issue is, or issues. There's two issues. So these are the steps that I kind of went through to test this. The first issue being no heat. I checked that motor on the passenger side. It's up against the center console right by where your feet are. I just turned the fan on without the engine on low and kind of got my head under there and listened as I moved the temperature up and down to see if I could hear this move. And I couldn't hear anything, didn't do anything. So I pulled it out basically to test it. And I tested pin 1 and pin 2 are power and ground for this. So you apply 12 volts to those, ground to one, power to the other, should move that arm. If it doesn't, switch your leads. If you had power on pin 2, switch it to pin 1 because it could be limited out on this and want to go the other way. If it moves and stops, don't keep applying power to it. You burn it up. You don't want to burn it up. This didn't move at all. I couldn't get it to do anything. So obviously this is bad. There are a couple other issues on this car that are pretty common. So what I did next, run the car, let it come up the temperature, check my upper and lower radiator hose, make sure the thermostat's open and make sure the temperature is where it's supposed to be. Then I went to the mixing valve that's in the back and took the cable off the post of it. It's really easy, just pop the cable off of there. And then I took that and see if I could move that mixing valve back and forth. Sometimes that valve goes bad, it binds up and it won't move. It moved, no problem. It was on full cold, which is forward on this car. I moved the post all the way to the back. That's on full hot. And then I checked the two hoses that go into the heater core. They should be about 150, 160 degrees, something in there on full hot. If you have heat on one side of it but not on the other, and it's on full hot, you probably have a bad heater core. It's probably plugged up, whatever you want to say. I had good temperature, 150, 155 degrees on both sides, so I didn't have any problem with the heater core. And it ends up being this motor that was bad. They don't make this anymore. You can't get them. I called Acura. There's no aftermarket for them. You have to go to a junkyard and try to find one. They just don't make them anymore. The other issue with this was the mode. Wouldn't switch between floor and vent and defroster. Wouldn't do anything. It's another motor that controls that on the driver's side, right up against the center console. Up, you can see it. Actually, it's this one. I showed you the wrong one. This is a 7-pin for the mode. This is a 5-pin for the blend door heat-cold temperature control. Both pins 1 and 2 on this side, looking at them, this side, you should be able to apply power to them and get them to work. I couldn't. Neither one of them would do anything. They're both bad. You do want to check your linkage when you take this motor off. You can move that linkage, just reach up on your hand and just move the linkage to change the flow. You turn your fan on, you should feel it change from floor to mid to defroster, and there's various things in between there. Make sure it's not bound up. All right, so there's a cover that I just took off. It's kind of sitting over here. It's just a plastic cover. It covers a lot of this back that you can't see. But down in here, you see the wet thing. It looks wet because I sprayed it. Is a mixing valve right in line there. And you see that little cable. Hopefully you can see that. I think you can. Let me get you a better shot there down the bottom. There's a little cable. I'm trying to get you some light here. And still let me get in there. So there's a post. If that goes on, I'm going to move it. I know you can't see this, but let me just, should be able to move it. I moved it before. I can't see anything. Can't see anything. Find it. All right. Let me see if I can get you some light there. So right there, right next to that cable is a post. When it's forward in that position, it's on full cold. Hopefully you can see that. I can't really tell in the viewfinder. So what I did was just kind of pick that cable up off of that pin, and then I reached down, pushed it, make sure it wasn't bound up. I wanted to see if it was, sometimes they'll bind. Now it's pushed all the way to the back. When it's pushed all the way to the back like that, it's on full hot. Once I did that, let the car come up to temperature. Then I went over to the 2 heater core. Oh, this is over here, right here. And I shot an infrared on these once they came up to temperature, and I knew that I had both my radiator hoses were up to temperature, meaning my thermostat was open. And I kind of checked temperature on both of these. Both around 150 degrees, which means the heater core's not plugged. It's getting through it. If it was hot on one side and cold on the other, and when that mixing valve is all the way on hot, then I would think the heater core is plugged. But it was fine. I wasn't going to try to film it while I was getting out of there because there's just no room. Up in here on the driver's side, there's the connector, and it's literally, it's right here. Let me see if I can show you. It sits right up in here, right in here. No big deal. It's right in here. So I'm going to push that all the other way. The arm, I just pushed it. Now it was on full cold. Now it's on full hot. It's switched the doors basically to get the heat in here. Manually, just do that. That's for the heat. It's the one that I can't get. They don't make anymore. I'm going to show you the other one as well. So here on the driver's side, right up in here, hopefully you'll be able to see this. I can't see because it's right up in there is where it mounts. That's the mode motor. It switches from floor to vent to defroster. I'm trying to get you some light here, and just you can manually, like I said before, you should be able to manually move this, and it shouldn't bind, which you can see it does real easily. I can move it back and forth without any problem. I could reach it. I can't quite reach it, but I'll get my other hand in there. See, it's not jammed up or anything. That's one thing you want to check. Make sure it's not bound up on you, but it's not. So the motor, pulled the motor, and the motor is bad on this side too. Unfortunately, they're pretty pricey. Pretty common issue from what I see on these cars. If you have that problem, I hope this helps you out. If you like the video, subscribe below. Thanks for watching.